Coach Z, take an opening statement, and then Colton, you can take it with questions after that.
This one was tough because it was a game of emotions. We were down. We fought our way back up. It was tied. It came down all the way to the wire, and the Texas State Bobcats fell short. One of the areas that I know that we've got to take care of, and clearly, is the turnovers. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of turnovers. It's something that we've been working on and addressing in practice, so I'm aware that's something we've got to work on. And then the other piece is we for sure talked about it at halftime. One of the things that we did do better at halftime, we talked about boxing out. We only gave up 4 offensive rebounds coming out of the halftime, so I'm proud of that. But when it came down to it, we really struggled taking care of the ball. Meanwhile, Sanaya's on fire. The last time we had a player on fire like that is Denasia Hood, who's currently playing professionally. So she's in really good company. That's really good Bobcat company, right, to hit 30-plus points. So I'm really proud of her effort, but I know she'll be the first to tell you it's really frustrating when you score at that level and your team ends up in the other column. So we're going to, definitely watch film tomorrow and continuously work on making better basketball decisions. Part of this is we have 9 newcomers. That's what part of this is, right? Played both of our freshmen tonight. We had a lot of new starters and new faces, a lot of Ks out there. So I'm not at a level of going nuts, but I am at a certain level of frustration because we have to get better as far as taking care of the basketball. But the effort as far as fighting is there, and that's what you want.
Yeah, Coach, how much on the turnovers, how much was that basically, you do have a new group out on the court, how much was it just Ohio just being really good defensively?
They're a great team. Number one, I'm going to tell you this. They are not the team that the MAC picked, where they picked them. The other thing is they have 9 returners. And so that makes a difference as far as your synergy and taking care of the ball and your wants and needs. So as far as the intangibles in the game, I do think it made a difference in the game regardless of what these stats say because they've had some continuity. Part of it is having 9 newcomers for us, right? They have 9 returners, we have 9 newcomers. And then part of it is our style is a lot more up-tempo than you've seen in the past. And I think we're gonna have turnovers, right? Because we're more up-tempo, but it's really doing a better job right now of understanding how to eliminate a fair amount of them. So not going to say that Ohio didn't do a great job because they definitely did do a good job. I thought they did a really good job in the second quarter, right? I think we did a better job of kicking it in gear when we saw it, and then it got away from us as far as really trying to let it fly. We just wanted it really fast. It was really hard, right? When you have an up-tempo team, there's a fine line between pushing tempo and then understanding when to make that additional pass or to slow down, right? And that's what we have to work on as a coaching staff, and that's what we're going to work on with our student athletes.
Yeah, so now, with this really being the first game, y'all really played with each other, you and your teammates. I guess how do y'all look at this game, just kind of improve on to kind of limit those turnovers?
I feel like we forced a lot of the turnovers, but I say just watch film, watch ourselves, and make the right reads.
Yeah, so obviously really big night for you. Coming off the bench immediately, you hit back-to-back 3-pointers to kind of put your team kind of get that offense going. What was it like just coming off the bench, and how are you just trying to find a rhythm within this game?
Coming off the bench, I looked at all the open reads on offense, so I kind of saw where I could get my shots off and what was open, and I wanted to give my team more momentum when I came off the bench. So that's how.
Coach, I know at Media Days you talked about just having Sanaya in y'all's off-season program, just kind of get her body ready for how proud of you for for her being able to put in the work and be able to have a performance like this.
I'll tell you what, Colton. So the first piece of Sanaya isn't even that. It's that there's 2 players that names come up consistently as far as leadership and dedication, and that's Sanaya and Deja Jones, right? Deja's our most veteran player, even though she's new. And that's the first piece that I appreciate about Sanaya, right, is that consistency, that's somebody their teammates can go to for anything, and specifically on the basketball floor. The next piece is I think there is a recognition that Sanaya works hard, and then there's production from that, and I'm very happy and proud of her right, in her first sophomore game, that she was able to play well. And Sanaya knows this. The one thing that we've been harping on isn't been her offense, because she's a great offensive player. It's really been her ability to be better defensively for us, right? So she's not a liability, and she for sure wasn't tonight. She did a much better job defensively. She communicated well with her teammates. She took accountability when she had turnovers, right? But then she produced on the offensive end when the team really needed her. So I couldn't be more proud of Sanaya.
Yeah, speaking of Deja, with her being like one of the older players on the team, especially when the team full of like freshmen and sophomores, how does her senior leadership really help this team, especially when it's such a young group?
I think that's a great question to ask Sanaya as far as the inside and inner workings of the team. But from a coaching perspective, there's very specific things that I feel like I can communicate with her, and she understands right away. You don't have to do a lot of film. There's not a lot of back and forth. It's kind of like, Deja, this is what they're going to do. This is what I need you to do. It's like, okay. It isn't, okay, can you say that again, or can you show me? From a coaching perspective, that's really nice, because then I can work with other players when she is able to operate. I don't know what you have to add to that, Sanaya, about Deja.
I just feel like she been there and done that, so she know all the X's and O's, and just give us like details of the game that we don't see since we're so young, and I think that really helped us.
And Coach, what was the big major halftime adjustment, especially on defense? Being able to hold Ohio to just 8 points to kind of get this team kind of back in this game.
So the communication is what we talked about. We talked a ton about communicating, doing a great job of communicating. A lot of their switches with we just called it his cluster, right, where they kept screening, flaring, screening, rolling, screening, slipping. So doing a great job of communication on that, and then closing out and covering their shooters, and then for sure 100% was boxing out. Right, we gave up a lot of second chance points, so defensively we had to do that. But the offensive side of it is that you don't turn the ball over, you don't put stress on your defense to have to get back in transition. So that was also something that we talked about, and we obviously did not do well. Right, that's the part we didn't do well. But the boxing out we did better, and for sure covering their shooters we did better. And Sanaya knocking down big shots for us was great. But I mean, you have to play a complete game against a team who comes in also just as hungry and wanting to prove something.
And Coach, I guess what is the biggest takeaway you get from this game now, like moving forward, especially when you got a tough opponent against Texas Tech, this weekend? But overall, I guess what is the major takeaway moving forward, and how do y'all just kind of rebound after this game?
So the learning lesson that we have to get better at is taking care of the basketball. That's for sure. Taking care of the basketball comes down to shot selection and just trusting and moving the ball. And the positive takeaway is that we fight. I mean, we're Bobcats. I've said this about when you have 9 newcomers, you just don't know. Like most coaches who go deep in the portal will have a bunch of transfers. And I've said this from the second every young woman stepped on this campus. They were Bobcats through and through. They're committed to this team. They're committed to each other. They developed their own mission statement, which I absolutely love. It's different than any of the mission statements that we've had before. So I know that there's a commitment level. So my takeaway is that they're not happy with this. You saw it in their body language. Not that I wanted to be jovial at the end of a game, but you saw how hard they took it. And that's what you want. It should hurt. You shouldn't be in a place where you're happy about the outcome, because we did not, play a great game coming out of half.
And so I guess what's the major takeaway for you learning from this game and being able to kind of turn this loss and turn into a string of victories?
Off of what Coach Z said, taking care of the ball. I think that would have limited a lot of things in boxing out. They got too many second chance scores, which really hurt us. Just take care of the ball, and it'll be a different ball game.
Anything else, anybody?
Sebastian, you better ask me a question. Or Sanaya. I can ask Sanaya.
You mentioned you had 9 newcomers. What were your overall thoughts about their performance tonight? Are there any positives moving forward?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first, let's start with the freshmen, right? You had Angela, who came in, and Angela played at La Vega High School, right? She was a freshman. And you had Kalia Murphy, who came in and played some quality minutes. I thought she did a really good job execution. For freshmen, that's not easy for freshman forwards to come in, the physicality of the game for them. And in this case, it wasn't much of physicality. They had a guard on the perimeter. So that was new. So I was really proud of our freshmen. If you have to start there, that's where I'm going to start. Then Kylie Parr also went to La Vega High School, but she was at Wichita State. Thought she came in and gave great minutes, pushing tempo at the point guard position for us. Obviously, we've talked about Deja. Maya's coming back off of her ACL. Talia's had opportunities as well to come in. And then Kira is a transfer, right, who's just a sophomore from Huntington, and so who played at Tyler Junior College, and she gave us quality minutes. I do like our interior game. I do feel like we do have a balanced game. If they could stay out of some foul trouble, which comes back to our guards doing better, right, off the bounce, then they don't have to rotate and get in the foul trouble they did. And if they box out, better too. But so I'm really excited from that perspective. We were able to get those young women, playing time and opportunities. I mean, we really went to a deep 8, but if you talk about that 9th player, it was Kalia Murphy, again, who's they're freshmen, y'all. I don't know if you know what it's like to coach freshmen, but it's not easy. And they came in and did their job, and they did a good job of listening. So I know the team will be proud of them for that.
And Sanaya, how did the atmosphere at home affect the team tonight?
We had a nice crowd out, and I think it gave us momentum. Once we started going, it gave us a lot of momentum.
Anything else, anybody?
Coach, what do you think this means for you guys for the rest of the season? Does this portend anything to you coming out of the offseason? What you were expecting from this team? How do you think this might carry through for the rest of the season?
We are, minus the turnovers, we're right where I thought we would be at this point, as far as where we need to be from a chemistry standpoint, from an understanding execution on both ends of the floor standpoint. My hope was that we would be further along with offensive execution. We're clearly not there, but that's what the preseason's for. The preseason's here to help get us prepared for conference play, and there's a lot of great teams in the Sun Belt Conference. So, I am concerned, but you gotta, they say you don't lose, you learn, and so we got to learn from this, and we got to watch film like most coaches. We got to get ready. We got to go to Tech, right? And so they're going to be bigger. You're playing in a hostile environment in Lubbock, so I think that's what we have to learn from this, right? And then we get our next chance later in the season in conference play to play another MAC school. We'll look forward to that piece of the challenge, but it's important that we just learn from these turnovers.
What are some of the particulars from last season that you saw as negatives that you worked on this offseason to sort of overcome those and be more consistent?
Well, some were out of our control, right? We had injury, so that was out of our control. The other thing we did is we upgraded our athleticism, which I think you were able to see right on the basketball floor. That's not a negative; it's just a shift. Decided to make this shift, and that's what we did. The other shift that we made is we have quite a few young women that have had playing experience, even though they're young. They played at the junior colleges that they were at. They had playing experience, and so that was going to be important. That's why I'm pleasantly and happily surprised with our 2 freshmen who are coming straight out of high school, who really did a great job. I mean, Angela hit the glass and did a great job. Kalia was 2 for 3. For your freshman debut, that's awesome.
I got one first.
Okay.
Sanaya, every time the ball left your hands, it felt like it was going to go in, at least from my perspective. Would you say that your confidence is maybe a little bit higher after this game, or do you always play so confident? What would you say about that?
I say it was higher after this game. Was definitely after seeing the first shot go in, I felt good, especially the second shot and then the third one. So I just felt real good after that.
Do you think after going 3 for 3, it made you want to hunt your own shot more, or?
I say when it was open, yes, but getting downhill was my main focus. But when it was wide open, yes.
Anything else?
I have a question for Coach. What was the team's biggest strength from tonight's game that you plan to incorporate for the remainder of the season?
Pushing tempo, right? Pushing tempo. That's what we've been working on. It's just now a matter of taking care of the basketball, and we push tempo, and that starts at the defensive end by boxing out, so you can rebound and get out there.
Perfect. Thanks, y'all.
All right, thank you guys.